Samson. Samson ain't no Bass Reeves, that's for damn sure. So Samson is going to kill 30 men in Ashkelon. He killed 30 men in Ashkelon, 30 innocent people. He just went and killed them. We're supposed to believe that they're Philistines, right? But they're not Philistines. They may be Philistines, I don't know, but they're definitely 30 innocent men from Ashkelon. Samson made a stupid-ass bet with apparently some Philistines. The 30 men who was at his wedding party made a stupid bet, and he told his Philistine wife the answer to the riddle, lost the bet because of that, but they had threatened him. And so, ultimately, when it comes to a fight, both people look like assholes. So you have to say, well, who started it? Who started the fight? And so Samson is going to just start killing people, right? He's going to actually have 4 sessions of mass serial killing, mass serial murdering. He kills 30 men in Ashkelon, and he pays his debt off, right, for that stupid bet. Then he returns to his wife, who is living in her father's house, but the father tells him that she's been given to his best man, one of the Philistines, because he thought that he hated her, and then he offers her, the other daughter. Samson is furious. He is furious. So then Samson gets 300 foxes and declares revenge on the Philistines. He ties the 300 foxes, their tails together, and then he lights their tails on fire, and he burns the crops and the stores of grain, the grapes, the olives. Everything was burnt down. Now, the Philistines, in retaliation for burning all the crops, is going to burn the house of the father-in-law and the wife of Samson, who was given to the best man. They're going to burn down and kill him. They're going to kill the Philistine wife and the father-in-law. The Philistines killed their own. So this pisses Samson off even more. Samson vows eternal revenge. He kills a shit ton of Philistines. So he just goes and kills a bunch of Philistines, and then he hides in a rock, in the rock of Edom, E-T-A-M, Edom. And then the Philistines occupied Judah all the way to Lehi in order to catch Samson, all to get Samson. So the Hebrews, the Jews, they give Samson, the chosen people, they give Samson right up, but on one condition. Samson made them promise that they wouldn't kill him, that they would, hand him off to the enemies and let the Philistines finish him off. And so the Hebrews thought that that was acceptable. The Jews then give Samson to the Philistines, but as Samson is being given to the Philistines, he breaks free from his rope. He finds a fresh jawbone of a donkey, a fresh jawbone, mind you, and then he kills 1,000 Philistines, just like that. And then once he kills 1,000 Philistines, Samson's very thirsty. God then just makes him a creek, makes him a brook of water, and then he could drink some water. And then Samson rules over Israel for 20 years. So, he just killed 1,000 Philistines. He killed a lot of Philistines. He killed 30 men in Ashkelon, right? That's 3 major sessions of mass serial murdering. After he gets water from God, then he escapes. And he goes to Gaza. So he gets away from the Philistines. He didn't get arrested by them. He goes to Gaza and he fucks a prostitute, as a man of God does. And while they're the people of Gaza, they don't say the Philistines, they just say the people of Gaza. They get all mobbed up, and then they're going to go after Samson, and they said that they were going to attack at dawn, but Samson escapes a second time because he moved in the middle of the night. He moved in the middle of the night, and then when he's escaping in the middle of the night, he picks up a giant double door, the big double door gates of the city. He just picks up the gate. He just picks up this big-ass door, 2,000-pound door, and then he carries it 20 miles up hills, all 4 ways. He goes to Hebron. I'm not even sure he was in Gaza, and then he walks over to Hebron, a whole other city. And I'm not sure if it's 20 miles, but he goes up a hill. So after he escapes, he picks up that giant door, and then they're just dumbfounded by it. Then they get Delilah. Delilah tricks him. They capture him. They gouge out his eyes. This is his downfall. Delilah is Samson's downfall. So they gouge out Samson's eyes, the Philistines do after Delilah tricks him and says his strength is in his hair. They cut off his hair, then he has no more power. His eyes are gouged. They make him dance and shuck and jive. They put him on the grindstone to make him grind some grain. Kind of like Joe Pesci shooting at spiders' feet, making him dance. And then the very last defiant act of Samson is he kills all the Philistines. It says all the Philistines are going to get killed, all 3,000 of them, which is about the same number as 9/11. And he's going to do it by taking the columns and then either pushing them or pushing somehow. He just pushes on 2 pillars, and the whole thing comes collapsing down. And 3,000, all the Philistines are killed. But King David's going to have to kill Philistines later on. The Philistines are actually going to survive, so they didn't actually all get killed. So is this myth or truth? Is Samson real or not? The default position is that it's all myth. It's all bullshit, right? You have to prove to me that Samson is real, and I don't know any extra historical things outside the Bible. So I'm prone to believe that the whole thing's a myth, but I can kind of see Samson could be a Gilgamesh figure where it's all shrouded in mythology because they wanted to immortalize him, but it backfired because I want to know the actual person, not the, bullshit stories of them talking to gods and this and that. So my argument for that it's a myth is just look at all these crazy-ass things that they, Look at all the crazy shit that Samson does. He picks up a giant door, carries it 20 miles up a hill. Maybe the door isn't as big as some say. I think separately you might be able to defend, each one of these. But overall, you cannot sit there and say he killed 3,000 Philistines by just pushing a couple pillars down. He picks up a giant door, carries it 20 miles from Gaza all the way to Hebron. He killed 1,000 Philistines with a donkey jawbone. Like, what the fuck? And then, just like that, killed 1,000 Philistines. It's almost like an afterthought. It's like they just threw that sentence in afterwards. Even the main story about the strength coming from his hair is bullshit. It comes from his muscles. The Spirit of the Lord encourages him to kill the Philistines. The Spirit of the Lord encourages Samson to kill 30 men in Ashkelon. He's a terrorist. He goes around killing innocent people. He started all this crazy blood and carnage. And then just kept escalating it until ultimately he, his downfall and then apparently the Philistines' downfall. You want to believe that, right? Samson rips a lion in half with his bare hands just like Hercules. That seems like that was added later. God makes a stream or a creek and gives Samson something to drink, which is bullshit. And so they didn't kill all the Philistines, right? King David, 200 years later, is cutting off dick foreskins for King Saul. So it just seems like it's kind of like Jesus in a way. They got all those miracles, all those magic tricks, right? Samson may have been a king, may have been a judge, may have been, a great person or an interesting person in Jewish history. But by adding the, ripping the lion in bare hands, killing 1,000 Philistines here, 3,000 Philistines there, killing 30 innocent people in Ashkelon, thinking that all his power comes from his hair, which is the magic feather, picks up that giant door, carries it 20 miles up a hill. The riddle is about honey inside a lion, and he scoops out the honey and he eats it. Maybe his hair gave him confidence connected to his, whatever, the Spirit of the Lord. Now, Red Cloud, there's a fantastic historical figure. Red Cloud, as a boy, his name was Two Arrows, but Red Cloud had to face off with a grizzly bear. The grizzly bear is going to kill his pony, going to kill the spotted one, but Two Arrows is going to kill the grizzly bear with the bow and arrow, and then his tribe, the Sioux, is going to make Red Cloud a war chief, and they're going to change his boyhood name from Two Arrows to Red Cloud. So there's something, a rite of passage. Red Cloud had to kill a grizzly bear. Now that sounds more he didn't rip it in half, right? Now when I try to think about where is Samson in history, I think in your darkest moments he could be a hero, but frankly he's killing innocent people. He's a terrorist. He's a murderer. Thou shalt not kill. Killed 30 men in Ashkelon because of a bet with 30 other men, so it doesn't even make any sense. The 300 foxes, let's not forget about the 300 foxes. What the fuck is that about? 300 foxes? He tied their tails together and lit them on fire? That's as cruel as, that's cruel shit. And if he burnt the crops down, that's one thing, but he did it by tying 300 foxes together. Where did he find those foxes? Where did he find the time and the diligence and it's sick and fucked up. It doesn't make any sense. So you put all those things together, it sounds like it's a myth. It sounds like there's a lot of mythical things there, a lot of mythical elements. I don't believe any of those mythical things. So if we just go by the story of who he is, right? He's doing all this crazy shit, all this terrorism, destroying crops, killing people. So he's a Jewish terrorist, a Jewish Jack the Ripper, a Jewish Jeffrey Dahmer, a Jewish John Wayne, Gacy. He's a psycho serial killer. But I guess it's for the Jews. So in a way he is a Nazarene, a Nazi Jew, a Jewish Nazi Gilgamesh. Samson is a Jewish Nazi Gilgamesh. That's where I land on Samson. I feel like, why did he kill 1,000 Philistines with a donkey jawbone? The foxes, did he just take 2 foxes and it got changed to 300? And is that Aesop's fables? Is that, I don't understand, the Hercules? Is that why they added the lion thing? And then, so King David's a piece of shit, but the David versus Goliath story, that's, immortal. So yeah, is he a Jewish Al-Qaeda, Jewish Al-Shabaab, Jewish KKK? I think a Jewish Nazi Gilgamesh is fair. When you're tired and you're poor and you're desperate, in your darkest moments, any strong figure would be appealing. So yeah, Samson is a criminal, fascist, mass murdering piece of shit. And he's no Bass Reeves. Do you know anything about Bass Reeves? Let's just compare Samson to Bass Reeves. Bass Reeves arrested 3,000 people. Bass Reeves had to take 12 people down. And even though he had these 14 dozen or whatever shootouts, and then he had to arrest 3,000 people, Bass Reeves, a black man in the Wild West, never got injured, never got shot, never got attacked, arrested 3,000 people, had 14 scrapes, and he never got injured. Bass Reeves is a badass. Bass Reeves once broke a man just by closing his hand. It crushed him. When Bass Reeves does push-ups, he pushes the earth away. So compared to Samson, he doesn't even compare to Bass Reeves. Bass Reeves is a badass. So what, Samson killed 1,000, 3,000 Philistines? Well, Bass Reeves killed 5,000 Philistines. Philistinians. And he killed 5,000 Philistinians with just a fresh fish tail. He killed 5,000 Philistinians with just a fresh dog jawbone. That's a lot harder. He killed 5,000 Philistinians with just 10 pieces of sand. With just a fresh, 10 pieces of fresh sand. He killed 5,000 Philistinians with just a sandal. Bass Reeves is so much better than Samson. He killed 5,000 Philistinians with the fresh ham hock of a hippo, with a fresh artery of a giraffe. He just took a fresh artery of a giraffe and he killed 5,000. Bass Reeves is so much. Bass Reeves once ripped an elephant in half. 300 foxes, is that how you destroy crops there, Samson? You know what Bass Reeves did? Bass Reeves, he tied 500 bunny rabbits together, and he tied 5 of them in a bundle, set their tails on fire, release them into the crops. 300 foxes, he did 500 bunny rabbits. That's a lot harder. But Samson killed 30 innocent men in Ashkelon. Well, Bass Reeves killed 14 men in self-defense. Bass Reeves killed a lion just by looking at it. Bass Reeves just had to look at the damn lion and it blew the fuck up. It blew up. God gave Samson a creek. God gave Bass Reeves a river. Samson fucked a prostitute in Gaza. Samson fucked a prostitute in Gaza. We've all been there, huh? Well, Bass Reeves fucked all the damn hookers in Tulsa. And that's Samson, Jesus. They all love their prostitutes, huh? Bass Reeves, his strength comes from his eyebrows and his ears and his eyeballs. Bass Reeves, his strength, his courage comes from his own internal conviction. He was courageous, but he was also lucky too. Bass Reeves is the best lawman ever in the history of law. Bass Reeves is fantastic. So compare Samson to Bass Reeves, there's no comparison whatsoever. Samson is a, Jewish Nazi Gilgamesh. You don't even know really what the hell he did or didn't do. And I'm not even for sure if the Philistines were the bad people. There's an Aesop fable called The Farmer and the Hawk. And the hawk is chasing a pigeon, and the pigeon goes and hides in the crops of the farmer's field. The hawk goes down into the farmer's business, and the hawk gets tangled up in the crops, and the farmer comes up across the hawk, and he was like, "What are you doing in my crops?" And the hawk says, "Oh, no, please, please, hear me out. I'm just chasing this pigeon. It's not you I have any problems with. It's this pigeon." And the farmer says, "Well, I don't know if that makes that any better or not. What the hell? Why are you chasing that pigeon? If you don't give me a good reason for why you were chasing that pigeon, well, we do got a problem. I need to know why the Philistines, they say they were the slaves and the occupiers and this and that, and they worshipped all these different gods. Were they terrible? Do we even know who the Philistines are in history? All we got is the Bible, and basically they're just saying the Philistines are like, the Nazis or whatever, that they're all just bastards and just go kill 1,000 here, kill 3,000 there, kill 30 men in Ashkelon. Who gives a damn? Take 300 foxes, set them on fire. You can just kill lots and lots of Philistines here and there and everywhere. Apparently, and then that's going to be, history is going to judge, like Samson is supposed to be strong. He's got that long flowing hair, kind of like a long-haired Arnold Schwarzenegger, like a Fabio or some shit. He's not too bright, right? Let the lion, his first wife, trick him. So he's only smart, or he's only strong. He's not smart. And he's no Bass Reeves. He's no Bass Reeves. The farmer in the hawk says, "Okay, hawk, you don't have no business with me, but what business you got with the damn? Is it right or wrong? Is what you're doing right or wrong?" And so ultimately, I can't tell if Samson is if he's a Jewish Nazi Gilgamesh, then that means, do you need to be a Nazi to fight the Nazi Philistines? Perhaps. That's why I say in the darkest moments, right, when you just feel like it's all lost, then you got to be a Samson, right? You just got to crush the entire foundation, kill 3,000 Philistines, and just, that's how you make your final exit. So Samson is no Bass Reeves. Samson is no Bass Reeves. Samson ain't no Bass Reeves. That's for goddamn sure. That's for goddamn sure. Jesus Christ. Samson? Samson. Samson? Samson? Samson. He ain't no Bass Reeves.